Titans Ed here, back to do another video review. This time going to be reviewing Transformers Generations Deluxe Class Megatron. My only gripe about this figure, other than the fusion cannon, which we'll talk about a little bit later, is its size. Honestly, I don't think characters like Optimus Prime and Megatron should be Deluxe Class. It always seems to go, something goes inherently wrong, unless it's first edition Prime Transformers Prime Megatron. That went incredibly right for some reason. The only one so far as I know. But when it comes to every other version, my only complaint is size. I do think that they should all usually be right around Voyager class, because I think it works a little bit better. But that's just my only gripe. Other than that, this figure isn't that bad. It looks really good. It's the Stealth Bomber. Not the biggest fan of the Stealth Bomber. I'm more a fan of the Stealth Fighter. But that's just me. Its overall design is pretty nice. I like the red cockpit. And this, the first red cockpit, then the secondary one. I'm not an expert on the Stealth Fighter. Not sure what the second cockpit was going to be. Since these are designed to drop massive payloads up to even nuclear weapons of mass destruction, I'm guessing that second cockpit's for, like, surveying the areas or something. Surveying the sky, maybe. I don't know. To transform him, he does do a little bit of parts forming, which is... It's one understandable to begin. It makes that fusion cannon that bugs me, but you take the wings off. Yeah. Although, I can't see someone using this in an animation if they wanted to do a flying Megatron and have him damaged and crash. Having wings like that would have an advantage. Now, you do place them together and they become the fusion cannon. Two things. One, I think there should have been a second peg on this one, so he could go all kind of dual wielding. I think that would have been kind of cool to look at. Two, you're using clear translucent plastic to connect these halves together. This is inherently going to break in the future. It has happened to me before. I'm sure it's going to happen to this figure. I know it's going to happen to this figure eventually. Years down the road. And yes, you can flip this out, kind of auto-morph it out. That's kind of cool, though. By the way, if anybody reads the comics, I mean, I did read the comic this toy comes with, but why is Megatron's fusion cannon split into two now? I don't think that was explained in the comic, and I would really like to know why it looks like this now. Just curious if anybody can answer that. For the rest of the figure. Now, again, I haven't read the IDW comics enough to know anything about this Megatron. Although I'd imagine he's most like other Megatrons. He started as a freedom fighter or someone who wanted to bring equality to Cybertron. And ends up his goals become tainted over time because, as we all know, power corrupts. And absolute power absolutely corrupts. I have heard someone say that this is one of the more beefier looking Megatrons. Yeah, well, I will give him, he has broad shoulders, but beefy, not so much. I will give him this, he is extremely comic accurate from the front. He does look exactly like he appears in the comic book, which is pretty cool. I do like that. Again, fusion cannon, split in two. Don't quite understand that, but that's just me. My only other complaint about this mold is his back legs, of them being kind of hollow like that. It bugs me, but I guess they had no choice but to do it that way. He's also a little hollow in the center, in the center mass, but it's covered pretty well that you're not going to see it at most angles unless you're trying to. And that's one other problem. I think, at least maybe on mine, the pegs that hold his waist to his chest, I think are just a little loose. It might be just mine, but I've had that problem happen more than once where it just pops up randomly for no reason. You push it a lot, you put a lot of pressure on it, it'll stay in place for good and tight, but you got to make sure you put a lot of pressure on it. Other than that, it's a pretty good figure. If you can find it, I recommend go picking him up. I got this one at Target. Yeah, I found this one at Target. But they should be showing up at about every major retailer. So yeah, if you can pick them up. Also, make sure if you're going to pick them up, pick up the Orion Pax figure as well. It's sort of a cool future meets past kind of motif on the shelf, which is kind of awesome. So until next time, this is Titan Zed saying I'll see ya when I see ya.